So as a result, we looked at kind of where we thought we'd fall out, which was about $3.6 million. Property tax, which is your other major source of revenue, we kind of kept that marginally. It usually increases on the margin, a small level from year to year, even though we may be going through a reassessment year, or I just sort of bumped that up slightly. So no major increases there. Overall utility revenue at $4.5 million, slightly up over this current year. A lot of that's predicated on natural gas sales. It's sort of hard to predict. You know, it depends on the cost of gas and usage. So I'm really trying to keep that as comparable as possible. No real ARPA funding or spending in your budget for 2025. I know we've got a lot planned this year in this current fiscal year, but I didn't carry any of that into next year. And from an expense standpoint, right at about $11.2 million budgeted, with about $790,000 of that in capital outlay, mostly in your general fund. Looking at the major departments, $1.7 million in general administration does include some technology upgrades and related expenses. So that's built into that budget. Police at about $2.157 million. So that's up slightly over this year. Road and drainage, about $1,355,000, and that's up about $30K over this current fiscal. Sanitation comparable to where we're at for the last couple of years, at about $620,000. And then utilities overall about almost $3 million. Down, but that's largely just kind of what we had budgeted for capital outlay expenses. So we have a large number in the 24 budget for some unfunded capital outlay. And so you're basically using that, using your money to fund that. So net deficit of around $258,000 overall, inclusive of $790,000 in capital outlay. So adding that back, looking at a net operating surplus of about $531,000. A lot of that in your general fund. So coming in, looking at just the general fund summary, most, with the exception of sales tax being projected to be lower, basically looking at revenues being maintained on your 2024 on a consistent level with the current fiscal year. So fees, licensing, property taxes, I mentioned, some of your major revenue sources not changing dramatically. And they've historically kind of been at the same level. So no expectation that it would change negatively or positively. So yes, mentioned sales tax and property tax budgets. Expenses, for the most part, you kind of see them above that I did budget them pretty consistently with 2024 levels with an adjustment for salaries. Road and drainage, those are pretty consistent. Still got the road maintenance capital outlay item. You historically budgeted right at about $435,000, so I've got that built in your 25 budget. And in the back of the document, I've got a capital outlay schedule for you. For your general fund, basically $731,000 of capital outlay. So the majority of the capital outlay spending for plan for 25 is in your general fund. Partly why I mentioned that, talking about that from a rate point of view. If you're going to look at utility rate increases, I would factor that in somehow. The net deficit in your general fund is right at $435,000, but that's inclusive of $731,000 in capital outlay. So if you add that back, it gives you an idea what your operating surplus would be. Since capital outlay is more of a one-time type of spend. Water and gas, just revenues being up slightly, so no major change there. Did adjust salaries for a COLA, so we can pass that information on. But really just coming in and maintaining a break-even kind of budget, so not generating a lot of surplus. Sewer, consistent revenues, no capital outlay expenditures in the budget. So, and so that doesn't include engineering, that doesn't include things that are associated with that type of spending. Small capital outlays, as I showed at the bottom, around $58,000, but a net surplus of about $138,000. But I think probably coming back to this conversation you're having here, you have some one-time spending that we need to factor in as we adopt the budget. So That's kind of where sewer would fall out. Other two funds, your debt service for City Hall, and then you have your Section 8 grant. Those are pretty much being budgeted on a comparable basis. Minor surpluses collectively about $20,000, but nothing major there. Did a recap for you that I've done the last few years on the next page, just an overview, kind of getting you from, what do you have planned from a capital outlay point of view versus the net deficit that we're projecting, and just adding that back to say, if we back out our one-time spending, or projecting an operating surplus, and that's kind of what this is accomplishing. So operating surplus would be about $531,790,000 in capital outlay. If I were to add back depreciation just to get an operating cash surplus, that's what that third column from the right accomplishes. And it gives you an operating cash surplus of about $845 overall for the city. So what it's telling me is, are we generating cash to pay for our capital outlay, or are we dipping into our bank account? And based on what we've got planned, if we accomplish what we have in here, we'd basically be at a break-even budget from the cash. Basically some funding on capital outlay with existing resources that we have planned to come in, which is somewhat unusual. Normally, capital outlay at this size gets paid for from bank accounts and debt, grants or something. But it is sort of a break-even deal for you. But the details are all sort of broken out, like you've historically seen by each fund. And then on the last page is the various capital outlay items for each of your funds and departments. So kind of gives you a little bit more detail relative to what you got planned in terms of spending in what areas, capital outlay that is. So it's a lot to look at. I simply wanted to get it in front of your eyes before you're asked to vote on it. And so we've got about roughly 6 weeks to sort of hammer through this.
Thank you, Todd.
We're going to go, if there's anything y'all need, just please.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Okay, we're gonna move on with the presentation of Edmonds Drug Safety Replacement Plan Code. Jim Mitchell.
Good evening. I appreciate you taking time to talk to us tonight. So I've been talking to the mayor and to Ms. Katrina. I guess we started talking about a year ago, and last week they reached back out and wanted to talk some more. So we kind of stepped through things and talked about some of the challenges that the city is currently facing and how possibly our solution can help you with some of those challenges. I've given each of you a packet. In that folder is some literature. If you don't have yours, that's it. There's literature in there, as well as an executive summary kind of explaining a little bit about our company and a little bit about what we were talking about. And then I also included the proposal for y'all as well, so you can take a look at that. But I have a short presentation here. I'll try not to take too long, as I know your time is valuable, and especially as you get later into the evening. So I don't want you to have to worry I'm not the sales guy that's going to talk for an hour and a half. But please ask questions about any of this. I'm more than happy to explain any or answer any questions. I don't know what just happened.
It was there.
As he's going through this, you all, if you all have any, I guess, technical question, we have, so sorry, Mr. Bob White here also, who works for Essential, who is our third-party IT. So he's here to kind of explain some things that y'all, answer questions that y'all might have.
So I felt like it was probably important as well to give you a little bit of background about who the company is that you're talking to. And so I have, like I said, this short presentation I'll kind of run through. So obviously the most important question is who is Edmunds GovTech? So we're a privately held company that's been in business for 52 years now. So we've been doing software since before it was really software. And we've been doing it focused on municipalities, utilities, and parishes or counties in other states over that entire time, and focused on the ERP software, which is the full financial suite from everything from your accounting right down through your utilities, all the revenue generation pieces that go on in the city. So it's everything that runs your back office. We actually now have right at 2,100 customers, and we just added a new state last week, so we're in the United States. But more important than that is we take care of our customers. We have a 99.2% customer retention rate. So over 50 years with over 2,000 customers, we've retained 99.2% of those customers. There it is. So, I don't know if y'all are familiar with an NPS score, but it's a service industry standard, and it's based off of a simple survey. It asks one question: would you recommend this company to somebody else? If you give a 9 or a 10, you get a point. 7 or 8 is neutral. Anything below that subtracts points. In our industry today, there are software companies that have negative NPS scores. The industry average is a 32. So at 63, we're quite proud of the fact that we're nearly double the industry average. And the reason for that is our customer support. 70% of our 170 employees are focused on the things that matter most to our customers. They are focused on either support or product development. So our support team, if you call in with a mission critical error or issue, we promise a response within 30 minutes. Today our response time is right at 10 minutes. Anything else, if it's just a general question, a low priority question, it would be within 3 hours. I know the question was asked of me. We're proposing a cloud solution. So the question was asked of me, have we had customers with a greater than 24-hour downtime with our cloud solution? And the answer is no, we haven't. We've never had a customer down that long. We will do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen. We offer support. Our toll-free number is available Central Time. It is available from 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. If somebody was to email us or reach out to us and leave a message with an issue after hours, we respond. We have people that are monitoring the after hours issues as well. So you always will get a response from us. So we offer a lot of different solutions. In the executive summary I gave to y'all, I highlighted certain areas that I thought were probably more meaningful, because we spent several hours demoing the software and going through all the details with the folks here. We don't have that kind of time tonight. So some of the things that matter, and I think would stand out for y'all, would be things like the finance dashboards. We have the ability to have dashboards that are very customizable. And those dashboards can be sent to you at a specific time automatically. So even though So it could be that are easier to read as opposed to financial statements. So it helps, but it's very customizable, so it can be the information you're looking for. Also, it would be able to customize it for department heads, so they can see certain information about their prior pay stubs, to be able to run pay histories, so they don't have to constantly reach back out to the payroll office. They can see things like their leave balances and request time off. They can also submit time cards electronically. So all that works together to improve the efficiencies for payroll, and hopefully make it where you have less errors as well along the way. But probably one of the things that matter the most to y'all is for the citizens. There's web portals for paying of bills. They can go back and view their prior bills. They can go back and view payment histories. We're also proposing where customers can request new service or request to have service disconnected through that. And if there's any documents they need to be able to upload, they can upload those documents through the web, even pay the deposits, so they would be able to request service without ever having to come into the office. The great thing for the office is then they receive all their information, they can review it. If they approve it, it comes in a work order automatically. The folks in the field have the ability to use Android or iOS devices in the field, and they can receive those work orders in real time. They can turn around, and while they're doing a work order in the field, they can take a picture, associate that with the work order. They can scan take a video and attach that with the work order. So if somebody damaged the meter trying to get out of paying their bill, they can turn around and take a video of the situation, and that'll be immediately available to the folks in the office to be able to see it. Also with utilities is you have the ability to do text messaging or emails. And I say that with utilities, but ultimately you can use that for anything for your citizens. It doesn't have to just be outages. It could be general information you're trying to send to your citizens about something going on in the town. And you have the ability to attach documents to those emails. So, I mean, some people use it for newsletters and things like that. Also, with the text messaging, people use that for past due notices, giving them a link so they can turn around and go straight to the website and pay their bill. So hopefully that cut back on the number of people on your disconnect list as well. I think it's this way of telling me I'm being long-winded. So, but the thing that I think where we make a difference most is more than just the software, it's the services. It's how we do things. I've talked about our support a little bit. I'm going to talk about implementation and training in just a second. But customer success, one of the things we also do is we have a customer success manager assigned to every customer. And their job is to make sure you're happy. So they will proactively reach out to you and say, hey, how are things going? Is there anything we can be doing for you? Is there something we can do better? And try to help you with whatever those general questions are. And the good thing is that extra layer, it's that extra person that they know the city because they've been your customer's manager from the very beginning. So they know what you have going on and anything that you might do that's unique, compared to other cities. I won't go through the entire implementation process, but one of the things I wanted to touch on is when it comes time to data conversion, one of the things Bob had asked me is what kind of layouts that we need to be able to convert that data. The answer is we don't need him to do anything for us other than get us access to the data because we've converted that data in the past. Our data conversion folks are experts at doing it. So all we need to do is get access to the data and we'll be able to convert it from there. So we won't need extra effort from your IT folks for that. During the process, another thing I'd like to just touch on is that we do business process reviews where we spend time going through everything you do in your office So we know there's no surprises. We're prepared for that go live date, and we make sure that everything is set and ready to go well in advance. And it's a very methodical approach. I mean, we do our best to make sure we take as much of the burden on for us and keep it from your employees. It's a hard enough thing to do to change software. So we try to make it as easy as possible during that process. I have, one of the questions also that was asked of me is, would we be able to get you up and live by December 31st of this year? Our normal implementation timeline is 9 to 12 months. So normally for implementation of this size, we start getting things live around 9 months, and we promise it to be completely live and finished by the end of 12. I've talked to my implementation team, and they told me if we could get a signed contract next week, that I would be able to promise the December 31st date. So that is faster than our normal. We understand, there's things going on that we need to try to help you out with. Just as another note, here's some customers that signed over the past year. City of Abbeville actually just signed last week. They're our newest Louisiana customer. But I can also provide references. That's the end of the presentation. It's okay. They don't have to see the questions live. Do y'all have any questions for me that I can help with?
I like the current system. Can our customers do all of the things that,
The employees, they can get the information,
No.
so this will be a true upgrade.
And one of the things,
This is new technology. Okay, current technology.
yeah.
one of the challenges that you faced here recently, what we're proposing is a completely web in the cloud system. Now, if for some reason you don't like the idea of it being completely in the cloud, the individual customer or users would have the same experience if we had it locally hosted as well. So, and the pricing is really not much different. There's a slight difference, but very little. But so if that's a concern,
Well,
yes, sir.
I was just going to give them the pros and cons on the IT side of it.
Sure.
Right. So if we host it in-house, it would be just like Encode is. Not the feature set, but the way we host it. So if you lose your internet, you still have your system, right? He would have to answer if all the same features would be available. But the other downside of hosting it locally is the city has to maintain that hardware, right? So, we're on a replacement. This server is 3 years old now. It does also your email and your files. So in 2 years, you'll be on a replacement cycle for this server. If you're not hosting your accounting system there, then you could downgrade that server and get a cheaper server. So you don't have the expense of maintaining your own hardware for a trade-off of everything is handled for you and it's in the cloud. But if your internet goes down, which happens about every 3 months, they'll call us and say the internet's down, and we have to call the ISD and light a fire and get them to move stuff, The whole city's going to be down as far as all the accounting stuff is going to be down. So I don't know if there's a hybrid, but that's the trade-off. I would recommend moving into the cloud if you help them meet the fire and say which one would you do. Just because they're going to handle all your storage, they're going to handle all your backups. We would never have a scenario where we have a cloud backup. We won't do that anyway, but a cloud backup that takes forever to restore, like what happened with Encode, because all that's handled by them as part of the service. So that's really your trade-off. Manage your own hardware versus outage during if the internet's down. And I can answer any questions.
Well, I think the one thing you didn't mention, a way around that, is to have another internet service just in case one went down you still have enough way to work.
We have a lot of customers on redundant internet. It's business critical, right? So you would get two different internet service providers. You pay them both. We can set up your network to fail over. You'd have a primary and you'd have a secondary. And then you're just working with power outages, which we're in South Louisiana, so we will have them, but not as often as the internet goes down. We can definitely contact another ISP and get some proposals for you.
I think that'd be in our best interest.
Well, we could explore that.
Yeah.
We've been in contact with AT&T over the last year and a half. We currently have Cox. And at the time, the build out was too expensive to get us comparable bandwidth versus what Cox is on. They wanted to do fiber, and they couldn't get fiber current. So they had to build the system out. And they build you based on what the build out costs are. So we were going to be only customer for the most part, at that time. So that was probably 18 months ago. I think we had that conversation, maybe a year.
Have you talked to Rev?
No, Jada was kind of running interference, as the contact person because she knew exactly what our requirements were. But we have had the conversation with AT&T in the past and continuing to discuss as time goes forward if they can build out the system without us having to bear the brunt of the cost. So it's an ongoing conversation.
Well, if you want us to do some research, it's all included for us to make phone calls for you.
No doubt.
And I have a question. If you can guarantee by December 31st, when would training start?
It would have to start probably in October.
We have a lot of end of the year things, so that's why.
Yeah, the end of the calendar year tends to be a busy time because of the holidays and everything else. There's a lot of hoops to jump through to make that work. So that's definitely part of it. We had to consider that when we made the promise. But we actually start the implementation conversation within 2 weeks of you signing the contract. We'll set up the initial kickoff calls, and then from that point forward, the first couple months they're 1 month apart each month, but then after that it starts picking up, and especially in that case, they pick up a lot quicker. And then we'd be doing the business process reviews and all that way before we start training. And we do the data version before that because you use that data for training.
Good information.
Yeah, and Council, the other thing that we spoke with, they talking about internet connection, is that the different departments that we have in 3 different locations. We have the sewer plant in 1 location, have to have internet, we have the DPW, which we have 2 locations inside of DPW. We have the board in the back, and then you have the front office in the front. And that was a problem with that location because we had the VPN from the old section to the new section because of the cost of putting internet in both buildings. So those are the things that that come into play when you're talking about, getting the internet provider and getting the services that you need to service all your departments and connect everything. Because the other thing we have is the depot, and we have the person station at this location. But those are the 4 locations that we have outside of this.
One of the side benefits of being in the cloud though is all you need is an internet connection to be able to connect to your data and answer questions. So people can have confidence, people can be wherever. Or you could have had something happen where people are working from home. They actually be able to do that with the way the software is designed for the cloud. All they need is the icon to access it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Agenda items?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to finance update.
Given the fact that our system has been down, we are in the process of entering in payments from the 17th up to today. So
Yeah.
the numbers would not be right. So I did not.
All right. Okay, item number 7, adjourn.
Going back to
You're picking up.
public safety. Call the public safety committee in order to establish a quorum. May we have a roll call?
Hugh Riviere,
Here.
Clerice, Lacy, Charlene.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 4, the police department report. Chief Hicks.
Good evening, how y'all doing?
Hey, Chief.
Mayor leading Public Safety Committee in order to keep both myself and the City Council aware of the activities of the Port Allen Police Department. I offer the account for the month of April 2024. Alarm home businesses 54, suspicious person 8, disturbance 14, suspicious activity 5, traffic complaint 8, Port Allen Fire Department medical 47, animal control 5, information 17, check person 5, incidents by location, northeast of Court Street and LA 166, northwest of Court Street and LA 161, southeast of Court Street and LA 175, southwest of Court Street and LA 144, and south of I-10 9. Total number of suspects arrested 15, traffic crashes 23, private property 6, and traffic tickets 18.
Anything else for Chief Hicks? Thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Item number 5, the nuisance violation report. Inspector Gidry.
Good afternoon, Councilman. Yes, for the month of April, I had a total of 12 cases. I had 3 of your home repairs, 1 of your vehicles, 8 high grass. I had 1 closed and I still have 11 open.
What's home repair, right?
Those are the ones like that's about to go back on. That's about to go on condemnation.
Is this the house?
Give them time. Those are
The 5?
ones that they get. The two on Avenue B, and you have 1 on Avenue C. The 1 on Avenue C, they actually working on it. The 2 that's on Avenue B, you know, they haven't started anything yet.
Where, I don't know the reason, but did you ask why they hadn't started? It might be something to do with the insurance or whatever. I know they was investigating it, so.
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gotten.
You hadn't talked to the family member?
I sent them a notice that, nobody had,
What we need to start condemnation proceedings, like,
Yeah.
Say what?
they start condemnation proceedings. They just been notified to have it done, or demolished, or repaired.
Or repair, yeah.
If they hadn't taken any action, they need to start condemnation proceedings.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Item 6, adjourned.
Public Works Committee, call to order, staff to quorum. Roll call, please.
Charlene,
Here.
Hugh Riviere,
Here.
Brandon Brown.
Here.
Item 4, discuss the 2023 municipal water pollution prevention report.
Good evening. My name is Nathan Levy, and I'm here to talk about a municipal water pollution report. This is something that's done annually, and it's like a report card for the plant, the wastewater plant. I accumulated the information from past years as well as interviewing with BJ Bradford to come up with information on the report. In producing the report, you get a score, but it's kind of like golf. The lower the score, the better. And there's
60 possible points, and this time around in 2023, we only have 72.5, which is fantastic to be that low. It's been lower in the past, but one of the things that happens is as we've heard so eloquently about the wastewater plant, as the plant ages, that the point system there's one point system that's based on the age of the plant. And so as that plant ages, you accumulate points. However, there's a way to reset that. If you do a major renovation, then you get credit for that, and that's be pretty big. You can't just change out a pump, but and you get credit for that. So there's other parts of the report. I have to evaluate the credentials of the men and women that run the plant, make sure they're still, that they have all the certifications necessary to run the plant. We had to talk about what actually got done at the plant, whether a blower was replaced or an airline was, or that kind of thing. We had to document that, and then we also had to plan for the future a little bit. We don't go too far in advance, just usually 1 year. And some things that were on their mind that wanted it to be done. So I don't know if you were given a copy of the report. Can you tell, did you each have one?
No.
Okay. There is the report's internal. It is not sent to the DEQ, but they have the right to ask for it when they come in for inspections. So a copy will be kept at the plant. But on the first page of the report is a resolution that's signed by, could be the clerk, could be the mayor, could be anybody that you want to designate, where you accept the fact that we did this report, you've read it, and there's 4 or 5 things that are being proposed that we've got planned for the coming year. One of them is to do some upgrades to some pump station control panels. Another one is some new blower for the aeration basin, and then some new transfer pumps for the influent and the effluent. And so, does somebody would sign off on it and we stick it in the file. So, does anybody have any questions that they might have for this? Without having it in front of you, it's pretty hard to have a question. But so, okay, if none there, then who should I leave this with? You got that? Okay.
So you said the score was 72.5, right?
Yes.
72.5
Yes.
out of 560.
Yes. Yeah. So that's very good. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. No, they're just sorry.
Item number 5, public work update. Aaron Landry. Do he know he's supposed to be on the committee meeting, or y'all just put his name on here?
He was sick today, so that's why I'm
Okay. I thought y'all just putting this on here and he didn't know. Okay, number 6, adjourn.
Okay, we move on to personnel committee to establish a quorum. Could we have a roll call, please?
Here.
Here.
Charlene.
Oh, here.
And here, Riviere.
Here.
Okay. Having no business, item 4, adjourned.
No business.
Mayor's correspondence.
All right, last thing is the mayor's correspondence. Good evening, council. 2 things to discuss. I want to advise the council that Ms. Liz Holmes' condition isn't getting any better. So let's keep her in your prayers as she continues to recover from her illness.
Is she still in California?
Yes. And the other thing to remind you is Ms. Roche already spoke about is the Juneteenth celebration. And we will have a committee meeting next week to discuss the particulars to put on that particular event. Remind everyone about National Day of Prayer is tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's going to be at the depot. We'd love to have everyone out to come in and pray over this upcoming year and all the leaders in the city. And I want to thank Apostle Hill for continuing to put this agenda on each and every year, along with other ministers and pastors throughout the community. Yes, sir. Comment.
I have a question. Do you know when we're gonna start accepting application for the summer job?
We'll put out a memo before school starts, so probably before I leave, because I'll be off on vacation for another week and a half, so I'll put a memo out.
Okay.
Well, we'll put it on the, I guess I need to put it on the agenda for the office to approve hiring some of
Do you know how many you plan on hiring? You know how many you want to hire?
No, that's what we will have to discuss. But I'll put it on the, you should always put it on the agenda to discuss. Hire student workers for this upcoming summer program.
Ms. Clerice had a loss in her family, that's why she didn't show up, so keep letting her know.
Okay. And also, we had an employee who lost his sister this past week, and I think the funeral was this week.
Gilbert Marceline,
Gilbert
sister.
Marceline lost his sister
tomorrow.
this past week. And I think the funeral was this weekend.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Thank you.